Mr. Robinson, you are a police officer.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, in the course of your duties, you gave the defendant a speeding ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
A speeding ticket, eventually, upon which she was convicted, correct?
Yes.
Your complaint indicates that after you gave her the speeding ticket, she filed a complaint against you with Internal Affairs,
Yes, ma'am.
something which you do not deny.
No.
That caused you a great deal of stress, ultimately could cause problems in your future career as a police officer, and you believe that she did so maliciously.
Yes, ma'am.
So since, Ms. Manos, you acknowledge the fact that you were convicted of speeding, so that he rightfully gave you the ticket, I'd like you to tell me why you filed a complaint against him.
Well, Your Honor, I had first observed,
Now look at me.
Oh, I had first thought, in days before and the days after, he'd only noticed that he only gave tickets to ladies. Like, and I've traveled the same route every day. I've been driving for 46 years. And I didn't feel at the time that I was guilty, because of the circumstances.
Because of what circumstances, Ms. Manos?
Well, I was driving.
Please look at me.
I was driving in the slow lane of traffic, and well, I feel there was no way I could have been going 50 miles an hour like he said I was, but that's beside the point.
Well, though, that is precisely the point. You were, in fact, convicted of speeding.
Right.
So my question to you is, why did you file a complaint against him?
Well, when he stopped me, he was very rude and abrupt and, like, talked like down at me very demeaningly, and I was nervous.
Give me an
and upset.
example. All right, let's start from the beginning, Ms. Manos. First of all, let's understand that when you're pulled over for speeding, your adrenaline is pumping. According to your answer, you've been driving for a long time and never received a speeding ticket before.
No.
So I assume that you were a little nervous?
Nervous, right.
No. So he pulled you over, and what was the first thing he said to you?
He said, you were speeding. And I said, I don't believe so. I was nervous and very upset, and he said, can I see your driver's license? And I got my driver's license and everything. And he just was very abrupt.
No. Stopped your car and said you were speeding.
Mm-hmm.
You said, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I need your driver's license.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you gave him your driver's license?
Yes.
Next thing that he said to you?
He asked me for my proof of insurance.
And you gave it to him?
Yes. And he said, he all the time he was like, he didn't, I don't know, he was just, he didn't, give me a chance to any explanation or anything, or even, just, I said, well, how seems to be doing 50 to 35 miles on his own. He said, I got it on radar. Well, I said, I don't think so.
Just a second. So you said, I don't think I was speeding, and he said, I have it on radar.
Mm-hmm.
That you were doing 50 in a 35-mile
mm-hmm.
zone? You said, I don't think so.
Right.
And what did he say to you?
He just said, well, he said, that's what the, the radar thing says. Well, I said, I couldn't have been going that fast, officer, because I was in the slow lane of traffic, and I was going to be turning on Wilbur at the next block.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, that's what the radar said.
Okay. And what was the next? And then he gave you the ticket.
He went behind my car and wrote out the ticket.
And handed it to you.
Mm-hmm. Had me sign it.
And then what happened?
He just, drove, just drove away.